Number 10. Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. There is a popular saying, you can never be too careful. It is very important to prepare for every situation you may face, even if it seems like an unnecessary waste of time. Also, in games like RPGs, it is good to exceed the level of your enemies to achieve total victory. These words describe Ryugyuin a little too perfectly. After being summoned by the goddess Rister to save the world of Gyeobrand from destruction, the hero prepares himself for his noble journey. While this might be normal, he spends a very long time training himself, despite having overpowered stats. He fights weak enemies using his strongest skills, and buys excessive amounts of supplies and potions all to stay safe. While his attitude may be a bit annoying, it might just be the saving grace of Gyeobrand, especially considering that it is a world where the forces of evil dominate each and every expectation. Number 9. River. From commonplace to world's strongest. The ordinary life of 17-year-old Itaku Hajime Nagumo is disrupted when he and his classmates are summoned to a fantasy world and tasked with saving mankind. While his classmates are gifted with impressive abilities useful in combat, Hajime is belittled for only gaining an inferior transmutation skill that lacks any real offensive power. During an expedition in the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime is betrayed by one of his classmates, plummeting him to the bottom of an abyss. Though he survives the fall, Hajime is faced with menacing monsters and misfortunes that send him spiraling into a grim nightmare. Desperate to live and return home one day, he resolves to fight for his survival only to meet an imprisoned vampire he names Yu, who is also seeking to escape the labyrinth. Taking an interest in him, Yu and a few others along the way accompany Hajime on his journey to find a way back home, while steadily transforming from commonplace to the world's strongest. Number 8. How not to summon a demon lord. When it comes to the fantasy MMORPG Cross Reverie, none can match the power of the Demon King Diablo. Possessing the game's rarest artifacts and an unrivaled player level, he overpowers all foolish enough to confront him. But despite his fearsome reputation, Diablo's true identity is Takuma Sakamoto, a shut-in gamer devoid of any social skills. Defeating hopeless challengers day by day, Takuma cares about nothing else, but his virtual life that is, until a summoning spell suddenly transports him to another world where he has Diablo's appearance. In this new world resembling his favorite game, Takuma is greeted by the two girls who summoned him. Rembaloo, a petite Pantherian adventurer, and Sher L. Greenwood, a busty elf summoner. They perform an enslavement ritual in an attempt to subjugate him, but the spell backfires and causes them to become his slaves instead. With the situation now becoming more awkward than ever, Takuma decides to accompany the girls in finding a way to unbind their contract, while learning to adapt to his new existence as the menacing Demon King. Number 7. Wise Man's Grandchild. In the kingdom of Earlshire, Merlin Wolford was once regarded as a national hero, hailed for both his power and achievements. Preferring a quiet life, however, he secludes himself deep in the rural woods, dedicating his time to raising an orphan that he saved. This orphan is Shin, a normal salaryman in modern-day Japan who was reincarnated into Merlin's world, while still retaining his past memories. As the years pass, Shin displays unparalleled talent in both magic casting and martial arts, much to Merlin's constant amazement. On his 15th birthday, however, it becomes apparent that Shin only developed his combat skills and nothing else, leaving him with blatant social awkwardness, a lack of common sense, and a middling sense of responsibility. As a result, Shin enrolls in the kingdom's magic academy to hone his skills and mature among other teenagers. However, living a normal life is impossible, as he is established as a local celebrity almost as soon as he arrives. Number 6. Terror in Resonance. Painted in red, the word bomb is all that is left behind after a terrorist attack on a nuclear facility in Japan. The government is shattered by their inability to act, and the police are left frantically searching for ways to crack down the perpetrators. The public are clueless until, 6 months later, a strange video makes its way onto the internet. In it, two teenage boys who identify themselves only as Sphinx directly challenge the police, threatening to cause destruction and mayhem across Tokyo. Unable to stop the mass panic quickly spreading through the city and desperate for any leads in their investigation, the police struggle to act effectively against these terrorists, with Detective Kenjiro Shibazaki caught in the middle of it all. Number 5. The Akashic Records of Bastard Magic Instructor. The Alzano Empire is home to one of the most distinguished magic schools in the world, the Alzano Imperial Magic Academy. Here, ambitious young students undergo training to become competent magicians. Sistine Fibble, a stern noble girl, and her bright-eyed best friend Rumia Tinjil attend the academy, determined to cultivate their magical skills. However, their world is thrown for a loop when their favorite teacher suddenly retires, and the enigmatic Glenn Radars replaces him. His lazy and indifferent attitude toward life and magic quickly puts him at odds with his class. What's more, nefarious forces hidden within the Empire's walls start to become active, and Sistine, Rumia, and Glenn find themselves caught up in their schemes. Number 4. All Noah Zero. The discovery of a hypergate on the moon once allowed the human race to teleport to Mars. Those who chose to settle there on Earth to technology far more advanced than that of their home planet, which they named Alno. This discovery led to the founding of the Ver's Empire of Mars, and a declaration of war against the Terrans, those who stayed behind on Earth. However, a battle on the moon later called Heaven's Fall caused the hypergate to explode, destroying the moon, and leading the two planets to establish an uneasy ceasefire. Their peace was a fragile one, however. 15 years later, high school student Inaho Kazuka witnesses the plotted assassination of the Ver's Empire's Princess Salem Ver's Illusia, who had come to Earth in hopes of repairing the relationship between the Empire and its homeland. The ceasefire was shattered, and the Martians declare war on the Terrans once again. In the face of this insurmountable enemy, Inaho and his friends must now fight against the Ver's Empire to settle the war once and for all. Number 3. The Misfit of Demon King Academy. In the distant past, a war between humans and demons brought about widespread chaos and bloodshed. To put an end to this seemingly endless conflict, Demon King Anos Voldigid willingly sacrificed his life, hoping to be reborn in a peaceful future. In preparation for their king's return, the demon race created the Demon King Academy, an elite institution tasked with determining Anos' identity when he reawakens. He reincarnates 2 millennia later, but to his surprise, he soon learns that the level of magic in the world has drastically waned during his absence. Moreover, when he enrolls at the academy to reclaim his rightful title, he finds out that demonkind remembers him differently. His personality, his deeds, and even his legacy are all falsified masks beneath the name of an imposter. This lack of common knowledge renders him the academy's outlier misfit never before seen in history. Despite these drawbacks, Anos remains unfazed. As he sets out to uncover those altering his glorious past, he takes it upon himself to make his descendants recognize that their ruler has finally returned. Number 2. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. 37-year-old Satoru Mikami is a typical corporate worker who is perfectly content with his monotonous lifestyle in Tokyo, other than failing to nail down a girlfriend even once throughout his life. In the midst of a casual encounter with his colleague, he falls victim to a random assailant on the streets and is stabbed. However, while succumbing to his injuries, a peculiar voice echoes in his mind and recites a bunch of commands which the dying man cannot make sense of. When Satoru regains consciousness, he discovers that he has reincarnated as a goop of slime in an unfamiliar realm. In doing so, he acquires newfound skills, notably the power to devour anything and mimic its appearance and abilities. He then stumbles upon the sealed catastrophe-level monster Storm Dragon Baldur, who had been sealed away for the past 300 years, for devastating a town to ashes. Sympathetic to his predicament, Satoru befriends him, promising to assist in destroying the seal. In return, Baldur bestows upon him the name Remure Tempest to grant him divine protection. Now, liberated from the mundanities of his past life, Rimuru embarks on a fresh journey with a distinct goal in mind. As he grows accustomed to his new physique, his gooey antics ripple throughout the world, gradually altering his fate. Number 1. Chrome-shelled Regios. On an alternate reality Earth overrun with mutated nano-machine beasts called filth monsters, humanity is forced to live in large mobile cities called Regios, and learn to use weapons called DT, and harnessing the power of K to defend themselves. The truth is that these are people lost in an alternative reality, caught between struggling as pawns of the founders of this space, and those trying to destroy it. Only upon its destruction can everything revert to the real world. However, many generations have passed since the creation of the world, and naturally the citizens who inhabit it fight for their lives. In the academic city of Swelny, Leifan Al-Sif is hoping to start a new life without martial military arts, and forget his past. However, his past has caught the attention of Kalian Loss, the student council president, and Nina Antic, a military arts student and captain of the 17th platoon, who instantly recognizes his abilities, and decides he's the perfect candidate to join her group.
of the hero.